Hey there, everybody. How we doing? Welcome to everyone hanging out there in chat. We'll give a little bit of time for people to roll in here, everyone to get through the opening ads and all that good stuff. If you guys are watching on a rewatch, let me know what you guys thought of the episode down in the comments. Make sure you like the video, it does help. And yeah, we're gonna try pull ourselves away from the glory that is the Harrenhal stage play, basically revealing all of the answers to all of the mysteries of Robert's Rebellion. And we're gonna try focus on House of the Dragon for a few hours. So it has been a big week. So let me know what you guys thought in chat as well of the episode. And just anything else you guys want to bring up. But let's get on into it here. It was a big episode, I would say. Well, a very big opening to the episode, and then some setup for the last few episodes, I think, for a good chunk of it. But yeah, what did everyone think of Kristen Cole's death scene? I thought it was interesting that they put it at the beginning of the episode the way that they did. I suppose that sort of fits with the theme of it not being like this big glorious moment, which is what he wanted and what he was denied. Also, let me know if audio is all good and all that good stuff. I assume it is, or someone would have complained, but you know, uh, beginning of stream checks and all that good stuff. So yeah, this episode starts with Kristen Cole and crew trekking through the woods, and they found a battlefield that looks a little bit weird. And they get on up in there, and it turns out that no, most of these people are not actually dead. They are playing dead and waiting to ambush Kristen Cole and crew. So they fight off the group that is hanging out there on the ground. Kristen Cole shouts, "We light the way," and then they realize that they are surrounded by a giant army who is now pouring out of the woods. So yeah, we have the duality of the Hot D fan base. Good riddance, Cole, you absolute loser, emo. Uh, and then his character grew on me this season. Kind of sad to see him go. It was yeah. Those are the two sides of the coin. And Cole was one of those guys who it's like he's a great character. He's fun to hate, right? Like I don't actually hate Kristen Cole. I love to make fun of Kristen Cole, but the scenes where Kristen Cole is on screen are awesome. Especially, I do like his warrior poet depressed arc that he's been going through for the last few seasons. So yeah, it it was a fun end to his arc, but yes, it is also in a way it's entertaining. I don't know if that's the right word. It's satisfying, I think, to see him actually die. But yeah, this is what he wanted, right? Like he was marching the entire crew towards their death. The stranger give him rest, all that good stuff. This is what he's been marching towards, basically since he left. So yeah. Yeah, that's interesting actually. I hadn't even really thought about that, but symbolically the crew that was pretending to be dead kind of are like whites. So yeah, that is cool. Oscar Tully and Roddy the Ruin show up and they're just like, yeah, no, we are not going to spare you. We don't have enough bones yet for the sept that I need to build. And I'm glad I had subtitles on as he yells this. What better way to die than blade in hand? And Kristen Cole just like doesn't respond. I'm imagining in Kristen Cole's head, he's like, I didn't get a word of that. I don't know what you just said, but I think it means we're gonna die. um. So yeah, yeah. And yeah, I mean, like people are saying Fabian deserved better. He was a phenomenal Kristen Cole. I don't know if he was like fully aware that he was playing an unlikable guy. Like, I mean, I'm sure he was, but like, I don't know if he was aware of that at the beginning when he signed up for the role. Um, but like, he's a villain in in a lot of ways. He is a badass who is also a villain. Like in the main series, I think what is it? Jamie Lannister thinks like he's like the best and the worst of the Kingsguard. I think that's Jamie who thinks that. So yeah, it's he's a badass, but he's a villain. So um, thank you for the super chat. Yeah, so we're getting some complaints against Oscar Tully. Was is that in the source material his grandpa's last wish? Because I know in the show his grandpa's like so bedridden that he he basically doesn't do anything and then gets offed by Alice Rivers so that Oscar Tully can side with Damon. Um, but yeah, it's I don't know. I like Oscar Tully. He stood up to Damon when he was just first elevated to Lord. He won over all the River Lords who were ready to kill Damon. It I think he's had a good arc. I think it's he's a good character. And yes, be sure to like the stream. That is very, very helpful. Thank you for the reminder. Um, but yeah, he said he'd build a sept out of Trader's bones. He doesn't have enough bones yet. And then Kristen Cole suggests, what if we do a 2v1 fight? And he asks if that's enough to make it fair. And then we got Black Alley Blackwood pumping him full of arrows. So, yeah. RIP to our boy. He goes out holding Allison's favor around his sword hilt, unable to use it. So, we are Kristen Cole. We all light the way, fight for King Aegon. We honor his name. And now he is gone. R.I.P. Bud. We light the way. But yeah, we got some. We got some. Is this love for Black Alley Blackwood or is this dislike? It's tough to say with the ex girlfriend in there. But yeah, it's the end for Kristen Cole has come. And then after that, we cut to, oh, I should mention they didn't do the line from the books. In the books, he gets pumped full of arrows, and they say they'll have no songs sung about how bravely you died, Kingmaker. And that would have been a cool line, but at the same time, it would have been a little bit weird to say to, like, I can see why it would have been a little bit weird to fit into the scene as constructed. They could have done the scene a little bit differently where they say it. I still think they should have said it. They set it up really well last episode with him talking about how he wants to have songs sung of him that Alicent herself will hear. I think that was some good setup. So we're getting some complaints about the makeup for Black Alley here. And so I think, I mean, I'm pretty sure the point of this is to keep the sun out of her eyes as she aims her bow, right? Like, this isn't necessarily to look good. I think it's partially to look intimidating, but I think archers would sometimes do this because it absorbs sunlight around your eyes, and then your eyes themselves are free from it. It helps in a minor amount, right? I think that's the idea. Getting the more Oscar Tully hate. Make a sept out of bones, dude. You're the biggest traitor to your house. Andal tradition should be followed more. The phrase in Game of Thrones are more honorable than Team Black. Well, I don't know about all that. It it certainly is a take, but yeah. Let's see. Yeah, our sharpshooter Raccoon Bay. And yeah, it is like that is the point of this makeup style, in my opinion. Like, I guess I assume that's why she's doing it. It's not really my opinion, but like I don't think this is meant to look like goth hottie. I think this is meant to be like an effective archery thing. So yeah. Um, but yes, she pumps Kristen Cole full of arrows, and now his watch has ended. Um, So then we find Alicent and Helena sitting inside the walls, which is pretty funny. At the end of last episode, obviously, there's the big dramatic reveal that they were trapped inside the walls and their light was out. Um, and they just could do nothing. They had to just sit around and wait to be found, which is pretty funny. Um, let's see. I don't know if we've seen other archers with that makeup. Um, I mean, I know we've seen some face paint, but I don't think we've seen that exact look. But I think that is like a thing that was done in real life as well. So, yeah, as they're saying, the goth hottie part is just a bonus. So, um, but yes, so they pull Alicent and Helena out of the walls, and then we have the small council meeting where Damon is pissed about how many gold cloaks have just been killed and set up like the Last Supper, including his friend Sir Luther. And the army is still marching towards Tumbleton, but they've been slowed down by Kristen Cole doing all his guerrilla tactics, which will now end, so they don't have to worry about that anymore. And Damon is suggesting that he just flies his dragon to the Footly stronghold and destroys them. And Sabbatha Frey points out that a dragon is not a precise instrument, and Torin Manderly is like, yeah, the flame magically can discern who is deserving and who is innocent or whatever, and Damon throws a goblet at him, which is great. Like, especially because they're literally saying a dragon is not a precise instrument, and a couple episodes back, Damon himself showed up to the small council, and he's like, "Yeah, I killed this guy. I don't know. A dragon's not a precise instrument. What was I supposed to do about it?" So, like, Damon, when he's saying a dragon is not a precise instrument, Damon, when someone else is saying a dragon's not a precise instrument, He's uh he's like, I'm gonna chuck a goblet at you for saying the reality of the situation. Um, the Freys are hated for breaking the Andal tradition of guest right, but Team Black is not hated for breaking the tradition of male inheritance. Well, that's because one of those things is murdering your guests at a wedding, and the other one is saying no, it doesn't matter what the king has declared and what everyone swore to uphold. We like it when boys get preference. um, those are two very different things. The entire realm did kind of bend the knee to Rhaenyra as the heir. And also guest right is older than Andal tradition even. It goes way back to the old ways. So yeah, these are not quite the same thing. Like I do get it if you're like, well, technically Aegon should have been the heir. I tend to disagree, but I can see the arguments, but I don't think it compares to guest right. Um, but yeah, so I do like Torrin Manderly getting a goblet thrown at his head. That is very fun. And Damon just staring them down angrily. um so yeah, this is great. I love the like dynamic of Sabbatha and Torrin being the kids talking in the back of class and Damon being the angry teacher. That is a vibe that they have continued on, and it is fun. And then Damon is trying to tell Rhaenyra that she should just burn all of Tumbleton, and he brings up the prophecy. He's like, anything you do in service of this prophecy is justified, and that is an interesting thing to bring up in front of like I love Orwyle's face here as he says it. He's like, "What is this guy talking about?" It's an interesting thing to bring up in a room full of people who presumably don't know what the hell he's talking about, and also it's like the old Bob Dylan song, with God on our side. Like, you can pretty much justify anything you want if you believe God is on your side, which is a theme that George is talking about in these books and in the story, right? um we got a bit of that with the Harrenhal stage play reveal, confirming what I think most people already knew, that Rhaegar and Lyanna's um actions were the result of prophecies that they were seeing and dreams they were having, and they led to a ton of damage and also created Jon Snow. So Jon Snow seems to be in a position to be pretty important to save the world. So it is a weird question in a world where prophecy is real and an apocalyptic threat is approaching. What is actually justified and what's not? Like, it's a genuinely interesting question. Um, and Damon is raising it here. And yes, I love the soft eye from Orwell. He's just like, "What are you talking about, dude? What is this?" Um, so yeah. Um, i- Interesting question. Yeah, it probably does make them look crazy a little bit. So yeah, that could lead somewhere for sure. We'll have to see. And yeah, I saw someone raise the question of like, why not say that in High Valyrian? And yes, this is a slip up on Damon's part, probably. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Because he's slipping. So, um, yeah, it's an interesting little scene here. And yes, Damon does look a little delulu, talking about how God is on our side and we should burn that entire town of innocent people because it's what the gods in prophecy would want. And Rhaenyra says that her father would abhor it, and Damon's like, and there we go. Like, Orwell's still just giving him that side eyes. Like, this is very clearly like a fight between a man and his wife. Like, they're having like a domestic dispute at the high seat of government. It's very funny dynamic. Um, so yeah. And yeah, Damon, this is true. Damon thinks that they are gods, so they can do what they want. It's not even quite a gods on our side thing. It's a hey, we are gods, which is even a step above that, which is yeah, a good point to keep in mind for sure. Um so yeah, it's great. Well, so they're saying I love that old Damon is back, but then what was the point of last season's arc? Well, it is partially keeping in line with Damon's character growth from last season because he realizes there's something bigger than him. He used to be being Daemon Targaryen in pursuit of literally whatever he wanted, and now he's being Daemon Targaryen in pursuit of like the grander vision and the path that the world is on. Like this is directly a thing that he would not ever have said without the character development of last season. He would have just been like, "Hey, I'm gonna fly my dragon there and burn them because I want to." And now he's been like, "Well, we need to think about like the fate of the whole world and all that stuff." So he is back to being Daemon Targaryen with a little bit of a new flavor, I suppose. And I love this line from Rhaenyra because they decide they're going to send some hired knives after Ormond and Co. in Tumbleton, and Damon's like, good, I can't wait. I'm gonna go and look him in the eye as I kill him. And Rhaenyra's like, no, not you. You can't be the assassin. But then she says, the most effective assassin has a plain face. Basically being like, Damon, you're too hot to be an assassin, bud. People will recognize you. You're way too hot and famous for this mission, which is a very funny way to talk Daemon Targaryen down and tell him, no, you can't go kill Ormond. Um, that is, I mean, if you were being told that you can't do a job, that is probably what you want to hear. Like, no, no, no. You are far too hot and famous for this job. We're going to have to send somebody else in. Like, Damon, I don't have a screenshot of it, but the look on Damon's face is like, oh, okay, that is fair enough. I can live with that on those terms. So, yeah. And yes, it does pay off later as well because Gwaine is aware of the assassins coming in because the assassin is not hot enough, and Gwaine recognizes it because yeah, he's not as hot as the guy that he pretends that he is. So yeah, it is paid off later. This is a very funny line, 10 out of 10. I like it a lot. Um, yeah, he's not even comely. It's very funny. Um, so yes. Yeah, and right as they're trying to figure out who they're going to send as assassins, the delegation from House Baratheon arrives, and the guy's just like, yeah, Boros marched his army in the opposite direction to deal with the bandit king. Sorry about that." So Rhaenyra's not happy about it. The Vulture King is doing Vulture King shenanigans, and the whole Stormlands army can't support Rhaenyra right now because of that. So she threatens to hang and kill this guy, and he's just like, sorry, if there's any way I can make it up to you, and she's just like, give me your belt, actually. So he he has to strip and give their clothing over to be used later with the assassins. And yes, we'll talk about this a little later on, but Gwaine did apparently want to show his high tower to Sir Criston. I guess I don't have the best gaydar because I genuinely thought he was just trying to talk Sir Criston out of marching them all to their death. And no, it turns out Gwaine is gay. We got gay Wayne confirmed, and yeah, he may have been flirting with Sir Criston a little bit. I thought it was just actually genuinely not wanting to die that had him talking about the sunrise on the high tower and how beautiful it is and wanting to show it to Sir Criston one day. But no, he was flirting a little bit as well. Pretty much confirmed. So yeah. Anyway, we then get Ulf and Hugh sitting on a hill. We got Vermithor and Silverwing snuggling, being absolutely adorable. It is pretty great. And yes, no, this is fair. It is probably a little bit of both with Gawain and Kristen. That he was just like, yeah, you're hot. I can tell you're broken inside and probably not into it, but also I do not want to die. It it is probably a little bit of both. So, yeah. And then are we talking? Are we talking? Why is Gwaine gay? How did it enhance the story? Well, because sometimes people are gay. It doesn't have to necessarily enhance the story. Sometimes people are just gay, but it does also actually like pay off in the story. This episode, he literally, because he recognizes that the guy isn't the hot guy he's pretending to be, he stops an assassination attempt. So it is actually paid off, and it does change things. And also, like, why not? Right? Like, this is a question that I always find weird when it's brought up, because it's like, well, why does it have to be like an enhancement to the story if someone's gay? Like, why make them straight? Why make them? It's the same thing, right? Like, I don't really get it. Why not? It's just characterization, right? Like, why have someone have blonde hair, not brown hair? Well, if it doesn't enhance the story, why not have them have brown hair? It's like, well, yeah, they can do either one, right? It's, it's kind of the same thing, but it literally does enhance the story. Well, and yeah, it would also be an intentional decision to make them straight, surely. So it is literally just the same the same thing, right? But it does enhance the story in this case specifically. So, um, yeah. Um, well, yeah, they weren't under guest right when they tried to assassinate them, but like this is a story where there's really not good like when I say Rhaenyra is the heir, I'm not ignoring the fact that Rhaenyra has also screwed up just about every decision that she's made since she took the throne. I'm not like saying that Daemon isn't a horrible murderer. But also assassinating the guy who is assassinating all of your friends and the police is, at least somewhat justifiable. Right? Like trying to stop consistent assassinations of like everyone in your city by taking out the source of them is reasonable. Um but yeah. Like I fully get if you don't like Rhaenyra, um but yeah, it's not a it's not a show where there's a good guy team and a bad guy team. That's not what I'm trying to say at all. But um, at the same time, yeah, Rhaenyra was the one named the heir. That's all I was saying earlier to the same commenter here. Um, but no, that isn't breaking guest right. They have not eaten at their table. They have not been brought under guest right, and it's not even Ormond's house. He's like marched in there at sword point and taken it over. So yeah, no guest right would have been broken there. Um, so yeah, it's a it's a thing. But anyway, yeah, we got Vermithor and Silverwing here, snuggling on up as their two riders talk about life and how Ulf is sad that he can't go to the tavern with the boys anymore. He talks about Market Day and how he misses it. How he used to be able to just go do whatever he wanted, and there he talks about how or Hugh says that, well, I'm sure we'll be able to go to Market Day sometime soon after all this is over. It'll be just like it used to be. And Ulf's like, well, we're not the way that we used to be, though, are we? Like, we have been changed by this experience. And he was just like, well, would you go back to the way you were? And Ulf's like, well, no, but I can't say my life has been improved. Can you? And Hugh also can't really say his life has been improved. So yeah, it's it's an interesting situation. He is not like the dragon seeds have not felt all of the rewards that come with claiming a dragon. Ulf at one point in this scene points at his dragon. He's like, "Well, what's the point of having a dragon if there's no one around to see it?" And that is kind of fair. And this is a good point from chat. He definitely could and probably should be allowed to bring his friends to court and drink. It is again, like I said, Rhaenyra has been screwing up like every decision since she took the throne. Um, and the way that she's been treating Ulf and Hugh have been a part of that for sure. Um, so yeah. Um, and yeah, the dragon snuggles, very adorable. One of the best parts of the episode, without a doubt. Anytime we get dragon snuggles, I am in favor of it. Um, so yeah. Then we get Alicent and Rhaenyra having a bit of a chat about the fact that Alicent was just found hiding inside the walls, having tried to escape. Uh, so yeah. Then she tells her the reason I did that is because Helena is with child, and you're gonna have to kill that baby, and I don't want you to kill that baby. And Rhaenyra is like, okay, well, I fair enough. Rhaenyra says something like, you insist on misjudging me, and Allison points out, like, well, what if it's a boy? Like, surely you're gonna have to kill it. And that is kind of true. So, um, she points out that Helena's fragile and you cannot confine her. And Rhaenyra says, I didn't, but now I have to. So yes, this is absolutely the correct thing to do, in my opinion. Like if I was playing Crusader Kings, this is absolutely what I would do. You give them a castle, you give them lands, you give them a name. They make a cadet branch, maybe not even directly a cadet branch of House Targaryen, but they form their own house. They get a castle, they get a dragon. Like, you can treat the dragon seed so much better than Rhaenyra has been so far. So yeah, it's this is absolutely the correct course of action, in my opinion, as well. Um, so yeah. Um, and yeah, Kristen was pretty badass before he died. They did at least get him a moment to show that he is like actually the greatest fighter of the age. Um, so that is at least a bit of silver lining for Sir Kristen, that he gets to go out having maced like 8 dudes in the face in his last like 5 minutes of life. So yeah. Um, this is a really interesting little scene that goes on here, because Mysaria apparently kept it from Rhaenyra that Helena was with child, having learned it before, and she lies to her. Look at her face as she's called out here. Like she does not have the best poker face in this moment when she's asked if she had any suspicion about this this pregnancy, and she's just like, "Nope, I had no idea." Rhaenyra's like, "Okay, interesting." And then this is like Missaria at times is like, "Oh yeah, we need to help the small folk," and like all that stuff, right? Like she wants to put an end to the fighting pits of children in Flea Bottom, and she's wants to feed the small folk, but Missaria is not a moral person. And we see that here, where she points out the maid who told her about Helena. This maid is the one who informed Missaria about the moon tea being brought to Helena. So there are two people who know that Missaria knows that Helena was pregnant, and she has this woman killed. Like she tells the I don't think he's a gold cloak, but this soldier here, like, hey, that's the one. She's a thief and a liar. Let me know when it's done. The implication being that she's getting her killed to frickin' hide her own lie, to cover her own ass. So yeah, Missaria is like straight up murdering someone who works for her to cover for her own lie. So that is yeah, that's a hell of a move from Missaria there. Um yeah. It's a it's a self-defense play on some level for Missaria, but it is to cover up her lie. So yeah, it's a not a great thing to do. Not a great thing to do. We then get a scene of Damon looking at where all those gold cloaks were killed, and a bunch more gold cloaks come and turn in their cloaks. They resign from their posts. They say, "Look, uh, this job has been great, but we're not going to get killed over this. We're not going to leave our families fatherless, all that good stuff." And so they resign, and all of them take their turns putting their cloaks on the table, and Damon is pissed off, but there's nothing he can really do about it. So yeah, not only are they losing a bunch of gold cloaks to being killed, they are uh, they are losing a bunch more to resigning. And yeah, talking about Massaria doing her murder here, yes, the like that is kind of one of the themes here is like one side is not necessarily better than the other. Massaria is not necessarily better than the people that she tells herself she is better than. Like when she is put in a position where she has to either get in trouble, risk herself, or do a murder, she does a murder. Um, so yeah, it's nice and easy sometimes to say, yeah, we should spend our gold feeding the poor, but then when your life might be on the line or your job might be on the line, how do you react? And we see Massaria reacting there. And yeah, it is like what Allison was saying, where like the power changes you. It causes you to do things that you would never have done otherwise. And it's not just the throne, it is even, a job that you don't want to lose. A very powerful position that you hold can cause you to do things that you would not have done otherwise as well. So yeah, then we see Corlys out here hanging pirates in the woods with his boys, and Alan comes and says like, "Hey, we need some soldiers in King's Landing. Do you guys want to come back and like help defend the city? All the gold cloaks are quitting and getting killed. It's actually pretty bad over there." And Corlys is like, "Oh, she's asking even more of me. I can't believe how needy Rhaenyra is." And he's like, "Why are you helping her when she refuses to grant you legitimacy?" And Alan's like, "And how many years did it take you to do the same?" He's just like, "If we're gonna be mad at everyone who doesn't grant me legitimacy, I'm starting with you, bud. You had like 3 decades. I don't know how old he actually is. Might be 2 decades. You had you had a long time. I might be thinking he's older because he's bald, but he does shave his head. In any case, you've had years to legitimize me, and and you did not. So it's a very good comeback here that Corlys really doesn't have much of an answer for. They didn't. Where didn't they air The Bear and the Maiden Fair? Because yeah, they were singing that, weren't they? The crew was singing The Bear and the Maiden Fair. Um, but yeah. And hello to everyone who has joined lately. It is good to see everyone rolling on in. So say hey to any of you who I haven't said hey to since you got in here. Make sure you like the stream and all that good stuff. It does help. Um, but Corliss is like, you know what? That is a fair point. I'll stop being grumpy toward Rhaenyra because you called me out very successfully. I activated your trap card and it was played flawlessly. And he says, yeah, okay, fine, fair enough. Tell Rhaenyra, by the way, that Tywin Lannister survived the gullet and he's making for Rook's Rest. So yeah. Um he he knows, and now Rhaenyra's team know that Tyland has indeed survived. And then we cut to Tyland digging the world's shallowest grave and being all tuckered out. And they want him to dig deeper, and he's like, "Okay, Larys, you want it deeper? You dig." And Larys is like, "All right, well, I'm not gonna do that, so I guess this will have to do." Um. So yeah, and yes, we will get to this in a moment. There looks like some drama brewing between the brothers there over Bela. Um, yeah, that's gonna be an interesting situation for sure. But yeah, we'll get to that in just a moment. Because yeah, so they're burying Janos, who Aegon stabbed last episode, sadly with a dagger, not with Sunfire's scale, as I kind of predicted he would and was hoping he would, but sadly, no. We still have time. Maybe there'll be some other dude who is less armored that can be stabbed with Sunfire's scale. But anyway, they kick him down into the grave, and Tyland makes another pitch. He's just like, hey, we really shouldn't go to Essos. We should go to Casterly Rock instead. And Aegon thinks about it and he's like, do you think I'm a terrible man, Sir Tyland? And Tyland doesn't know what test he is being put, like what is the game that Aegon is playing here. So he stammers and he's just like makes it clear that he's just like, well, listen, you have some good and some bad in you. I may not have agreed with everything that you've done. And it's like, this would be a very easy thing to say, no, you're not a terrible man. What are you talking about? Uh, and he doesn't say that because he does think Aegon is a terrible man, but he doesn't want to say that because Aegon is his king and he doesn't know if he's going to be like punished for it. So he just stammers around, and Aegon has a funny look on his face. Larys like stares him down, and he stammers through it, and he's just like, "Look, in every man, there is much to admire and much to be deplored." And Aegon is just like, "Okay, we sail for Essos then." And the game that he's playing here is Larys was not afraid to call him out on his shit, and he has realized Larys was right. So he knows that Larys is telling him what he needs to hear and what is true, rather than what is self serving and what he thinks will get him ahead. Whereas Tyland is very clearly trying to say the thing that will get him ahead. He's trying to like flatter Aegon. He's unwilling to tell him a hard truth. So when he's saying, look, we should go to Casterly Rock, that may be self-serving more so than it is like the best course of action, the best piece of advice he could give. So the difference between him and Larys here has been made clear to Aegon by this little test, so he realizes, okay, Larys is the one who is willing to tell me the truth even when it doesn't benefit him. We're going to go with his advice. So they'll sail for Essos. Uh, which I think is a neat little scene from Aegon. So will we see Melisandre in House of the Dragon? I don't think so. I don't think she came to Westeros until later on when she saw Stannis in her flames and felt like she needed to go and um make him into the savior of the world in her eyes. So yeah. Um So I don't think he actually executed him with Sunfire Scale. I am disappointed that that is the case, but I think when you paused it, it looks like he's holding a dagger. And I don't know that the scale would have pierced through the armor the way that it did. Um, but yeah, I wish he would have killed him with Sunfire Scale. I don't think he did. Asking what kind of chat are we? The really sexy kind, mostly. I'm guessing you're asking if spoilers or not, and I would say please don't do major spoilers in chat. A lot of people um don't know them, and I'm not doing spoilers at this point. We can maybe do a spoiler section at the end if we're really gunning for it, depending on how long it takes to get through the episode. But no, we're a no spoiler chat, if assuming that's what you're asking. Um, so yeah. Um, let's see. We'll okay, yeah, that is what you're asking. Yeah. So yeah, we're no major spoilers in the chat, please, and thank you. So yeah, Reina sees that Bela and Alan or Adam are flying around on their dragons, and she decides to go fly after them, which is a terrible, terrible idea, which we'll talk about in a little bit. We then see Alice and Aemond at Harrenhal, and she's saying thank you for saving my life, and it's been a long time since anyone's tried to defend me. And he's just like, okay, well, I'm glad that I can leave here with that score settled. Basically, being like, okay, you saved my life, I saved your life. Now we're even, and you can stop holding me prisoner in my room, and I can leave. And he wants to go find Vagar and says she would not have left me willingly. He points out perhaps she's just scared of this creepy haunted castle. Um, so yeah, it's it's a interesting situation of what Vagar is actually doing, and the weirdness of Harrenhal might actually be a part of why she left. Um, and Alice points out, like, hey, do you think maybe Vagar flew away as a way of protecting you? Because everyone assumes that you are wherever Vagar is. As long as Vagar isn't here, you're safe here. Like, this is the best thing that she could have done for you. And that might genuinely be the answer. Um, and then she points out that, like, hey, Rhaenyra's dragons outnumber you by a lot. Even if you find Vagar, you're not really going to be safe. If you find her, what are you going to do? Fly off to your death in a war where you're outnumbered? Um, so she's trying to keep Aemond here at Harrenhal, as we see. She is she is trying to manipulate him, I think, in a large way. And I would guess the two options are probably exactly what Alice says of like it is the best thing to do for Aemond to fly away, and Vagar wants to eat and burn the Riverlands. So she's doing that for the love of the game and for the food that is involved. Um, Possibly just for the food, but probably also for the love of the game. Or the alternative option is Alice has done some creepy magic that has like driven her away. Basically, what Aemon says here, she shuns this forsaken castle. Like there could be some um, weird magic-y things that Alice maybe knows how to do that will make the dragon want to leave. Um, so yeah, it those I think are the two main answers that I personally would assume. Yeah, she said shoo, and Vagar's just like, oh, I don't want to be shooed. I'm leaving. She shoos her away, and there goes Vagar. Um, so yeah, that is though probably like it's probably either for food or creepiness of Harrenhal or something like that. We then see a person screaming, having just been thrown out the moon door. And yeah, sadly, we don't get a full view of it. We just get to hear it right at the end. But yeah, someone has just been tossed out. And Jane has Raina brought in front of her and she slaps her. She's like, what the hell are you doing? We had an agreement. You're supposed to be in hiding. And she says, the queen thinks that sheep stealer's rider is dead. That is the only thing keeping you safe, and by extension, keeping me safe. Because I have harbored you here. When you risk your life, you're putting my life at risk as well. Stop doing that. Um, and Reyna says that she's wanted a dragon her entire life, and now that she has one, she's lost everything else. Which you do feel for her on that. Like it is a sad situation for Reyna here. But Lady Jane Eyre's just like, well, that was your choice. You have to live with the consequences of it now. Like, you went out there, you claimed a dragon, your dragon got people killed. You have to live with the consequences of that. So yeah. And yeah, it is a little funny because she was yelling at her for being seen by so many witnesses, but this is a room full of witnesses. But all of these people are sworn to her and are probably not informing on her to Rhaenyra. So I think she feels safe in front of her guards. But yeah, it is a little funny. That is a good point. Um so then yeah, the scene we were talking about a little bit earlier on that is maybe going to cause some drama. Bela is taking a nap, and Alan of Hull walks in, and they talk about their fathers, um, and basically how they're chasing glory and not wanting to deal with their problems and pushing people away. Um, both of their fathers have that in common for sure, and yeah, they're bonding over the fact that their dads um kind of ignore them a lot. And yeah, it's a interesting little scene. And then she points out, you're very dutiful. Doesn't it get tiring just taking care of other people all the time? Don't you ever want to just do what you want? And she leans closer, and then they make out. So yeah, we find out, well, last episode his brother was trying to put the moves on Bela, trying to do a little Dragon Rider Riz from Adam, and she's just like, no, I don't like the Dragon Riders with the Riz. I like the dutiful bald guys. That's her type apparently right now. So yeah, she likes the more responsible guy rather than like the dragon riding pretty boy with his sick hair and his jokes. She wants the responsible, dutiful man, which I think might make a lot of sense actually in the context of this situation, having just lost her dragon riding betrothed and probably feeling very vulnerable and tired and maybe wanting someone to take care of her on some level. Like, here's a guy who's proven he can take care of things, get things done, and also isn't going to go die in a dragon battle. That probably is that is probably a reasonable decision on her part. So yeah, it is apparently a thing that she prefers Adam or Alan here. I keep mixing the two of them up. Yeah, she prefers the dutiful brother. So then they make out. And then we see Gwaine has arrived at Tumbleton, and Ormond's like, so Kristen Cole is fighting on and you're here. Why? And he's like, well, because fighting on is madness. And Ormond's like, do you think I'm mad, Your Grace? And Darren's like, no, no, sire, no. Gwaine's like, what do you mean you're fighting on? There's a dragon staring down at us. Like, the second you leave, you're going to be burned alive. And Ormond's just like, no, we have the clear advantage. The great houses can't help but come to our side. And Gwaine's like, has any of them come yet? And and Ormond's just like, no, but the patient hunter gets the kill. And Gwaine's just like, listen, I have been marching through the woods, watching men die around me. I don't have time for this. Like, this is horrible. Everything is going horribly. And Ormond's just like, yeah, I'm sure you found solace in the arms of some of your brothers. The first little hint at Gawain here from Ormond. And then he tells Darren to see him to his quarters. And then he makes a "don't drop the soap" joke. He says, "Oh, watch yourself, by the way." Backs against the wall, implying that Gwaine is gonna do butt stuff if he doesn't have his back against the wall. It's not a great joke from Ormond. Ormond, I don't know if you guys noticed, but Ormond is not a great person. So once they get alone, they have a really interesting conversation here between Gwaine and Darren. He says, "He styled you the Bloody King. Why did you go along with this?" Basically, he's like, "Well, you left me alone with him. I was trying to stop him from, you know," sort of implying like either stop him from beating me or stop him from like having a massive temper tantrum and going insane. So yeah, it's uh it's an interesting conversation that they have here. Darren says, "I hate what I am when I'm with him. I'm a puppet, a fool, a child." And then Gwaine's like, "Well, he means to put you on the throne, apparently." And Darren points out that, yeah, only because he can't make himself the king. He fully intends for him to rule, while Darren is just a puppet king, which I put out a video on basically breaking down like the the best case scenario for Ormond's plan is for him to do what Otto used to be able to do. Him to be like a hand of the king who is basically in charge, which is what Otto had at the end with Viserys. So yeah, like in Ormond's wildest dreams, he is Otto Hightower, which I find very funny because he's very dismissive of Otto Hightower even later on in this episode. Um, and yeah, Darren says he would thrust me forward and devour me from within. And Gwaine's like, "So tell him you won't do it." And then Darren's basically just like, I can't tell him anything at this point. And he's like, "Well, if you're king, you could cast him down." And Darren says, "I'll never be the king. We both know it." So, like, Darren is not crazy. He knows this plan is terrible. He doesn't like think this is going well. Which is, yeah, it's an interesting thing to finally get inside Darren's head and have him have an honest conversation with someone. Um, so then Gwaine says he's going back to Old Town. He says that he's the second in line, which I think implies not like that he's the heir. I don't know. It may be that Ormond has one son, and that he would then be second in line. Or maybe he's saying that he's the heir. I don't know. I don't exactly know how they're going to handle it. In the books, Ormond has children. We'll say that. So it is interesting, I guess. Let me know what you guys think. Like the other option is that he doesn't know Otto is dead yet. So like Otto would be Ormond's heir if Ormond doesn't have kids in the show and Gwaine doesn't realize yet what has happened. I assume he knows, but I don't know. Like we don't know. And yeah, it is a very ambiguous line. It could imply that he is after Ormond. It could imply that he thinks Otto is alive and he's after Otto, who is after Ormond, or it could imply that Ormond has one son who he is after in line. Either way, um, his line about how he would have to pick up the pieces does kind of suggest that maybe if Ormond's plan goes bad, he thinks he would take over. Um, so yeah, it's interesting. I don't exactly know what the Hightower family tree looks like in the show at this point, especially in terms of Ormond's children. Um, so yeah, he says he'll prepare to pick up the pieces, and Darren is sad because he's being left alone again, and it's not fun for him. And he asks before Gwaine walks off to clean up. He's like, "When you were in King's Landing, did you see my mother?" So we know that Darren does care about Alicent, and he wishes he could have an update, I'm sure, on how she's doing. And yeah, later on, Ormond will mention being the hand, which, yeah, we'll talk about it in a little bit. But yes, that scene, he's both dismissive of Otto and clearly putting himself forward as Darren's potential hand, hoping to one day be as powerful as Otto Hightower. So yeah, it's very funny. But yeah, so Darren asks about his mother, and then we cut to Alicent. And Helena is calling out Alicent on something that I called last episode. Like, she was lying about Jaehaera because when the plan was foiled, Jaehaera wasn't waiting for them at the end of a random tunnel. Uh, that would have been the logical outcome of them being stopped by Massaria. Is that, oh, wherever they were supposed to meet up with Jaehaera, she's just like waiting there, and that never happened. Probably, I said probably because Alicent was lying. I got the vibe that Alicent never intended to get Jaehaera out of there, and this is now confirmed. Alicent isn't able to answer, and Helena's like, ah, I see. And she says, you lied. And Alicent's just like, look, I was trying to save you. And Helena's like, you're trying to save me or trying to save yourself? And Alicent says, what difference does it make? It's like, Alicent, that's not the correct answer, Alicent. It does make a bit of a difference, actually. Um, are you trying to actually help Helena, or are you just trying to save your own life? Um, so yeah, Alicent not being the best mom once again. It is it is a bit of a theme with her character. So yes, hello, welcome on into the chat, and yeah, hopefully everyone did enjoy the episode. Um, but yes. Then yeah, this is an interesting thing here. We see Helena's needlepoint. I'll pop that on full screen here. Let's see. We'll go like that. Um, so this is Aemond in Harrenhal in either a womb or like a pool of blood. He's in the fetal position, so it feels like it's like womb symbolism or it's like a cocoon, perhaps. Let me know, like, give me your takes on this. Um, I guess spoiler free is as you can versions of your takes on it. Even knowing where things go, it is there are a few ways that this could be taken, I think. But also interestingly, off to the right here, there is some dragon eggs that seem to be there, like right above the little trees on the right. And there is what appear to be weirwoods with half blue leaves. And I find that really interesting. Like, these look like weirwood trees. They're white bark, red leaves, but half of the leaves or more are blue. And I don't know what that means. Um, there's like the blue leafed shade trees, but those have dark bark. Um, yeah, it's a really interesting picture. Like, this is a picture that I feel like, I like, I know what I think certain parts of it mean without going into spoilers, but even knowing spoilers, like, there are things about this that I'm like, what is that about, you know? And yeah, like this womb slash cocoon slash puddle of blood, whatever it is as pointed out here, it's seeping into the ground and the strands are flowing to the trees. So yes, I do agree. It looks like it is feeding the trees. Um, and we haven't seen any blue trees at Harrenhal. That's the weird thing. But like it could imply like icy magic or like I don't know. I don't know. The blue leaves of the weirwood trees are genuinely one of those things where I'm like, what is Helena doing with that? I'll maybe have to think about it a little bit. But yes, it is absolutely looking like, assuming this is a blood stain for a moment. The bottom of it connects to this little red line. I guess you guys can't see my mouse that I am pointing with. But the blue connects to this little red line, which flows towards these trees and such. And also, there is like a little caterpillar, if you see, like right above my head on the left there, under the trees that are on the left. There's like a centipede caterpillar, a bug. Helena loves her bugs, and that bug is also seemingly like munching on a strand of something that is like connected to the bottom of the little pool of blood or whatever it is. It's a weird bit of artwork from Helena that I feel like is very open to a lot of different interpretations. So yeah. And like I assume that's Alice Rivers, that woman there. Um but at the same time we see Alicent at the end of this episode being sent off to Harrenhal wearing like a hood. And this woman may have a hood on. I don't know. That's either a hood or her hair, but it is the same color as her clothing. So, like, is this Alicent? Does Helena know that Alicent is about to be sent to Harrenhal? I assume it's Alice Rivers, but it could be Alicent. There's a lot of different interpretations here. Um, so yeah. And yes, this is interesting as well. Like you can't see it really without fully zooming in, but I also did look at the embroidery like super close. I don't think I didn't include another zoomed in version of it. It is not the side of his sapphire eye. That is interesting as well, but it also looks almost like it. Like if you zoom in really closely, you can find a screenshot and do this as well. It almost looks like you see his nose and then like you see his eye and like the sapphire is like above his eye, so it almost makes him look like it's like his third eye. I don't necessarily think that's what's intended, but it might be. Like I don't rule that out, the idea that like he's got his third eye as like the sapphire eye. I don't know. It's a weird situation. Um so yeah, I don't know. It's a really interesting and weird piece of art. So yeah. And then we go back to Harrenhal, and Aemond is trying to get a horse from the stables, and the boy who tends to the horses is one of the few people left alive at Harrenhal, and he sees him. He's like, "Oh shoot, it's Aemond One Eye," and he turns around, and Alice just stabs him to death. So now there's even less people at Harrenhal. Um, so yeah, it's she's apparently willing to kill to protect Aemond, which he's just like, okay, well, that is nice having her willing to kill people for me, I guess. And he points out like, hey, you could have killed me and taken the bounty, and you didn't. And she's just like, yeah, there's many things I could have done to you, but I didn't. And he's like, so what game are you playing? And she's like, well, you can learn if your spirit is willing. And then she shows him dragon eggs. So she has been keeping these dragon eggs for like 100 years. Uh, Dreamfire Reyna apparently had dragon eggs laid at Harrenhal before she died, and so yeah, they are in possession now of a clutch of 5 dragon eggs, and she gives them, or gives at least one of them, to Aemond. And she says, I do not know the ways of dragons, but I have long envisaged the return of the Targaryens to this ancient seat. So, essentially, she wants his help hatching a dragon from the looks of it. Um, and she, she says, or he says to her, look, I'm cursed. Everything that I put my hand to withers beneath its touch. And she says, do you imagine that you alone know what it is to be cursed? Which I feel is a very interesting line, um, given, you know, the curse of Harrenhal and all that stuff, like the way that she stares off and looks like genuinely horrified as she says this. It does sort of imply that she is cursed, which is interesting. Like, we're still trying to put the puzzle pieces together on what or who Alice is. I lean in the direction of she's either a normal person or a child of the forest, not like the embodiment spirit of Harrenhal itself necessarily. Um, but like I don't know, when she says stuff like this, it is really interesting. Her being a child of the forest, though, I think would also fit this. Like she seems to have an extended long life, and her being cursed, like if she was a child of the forest who lived in this grove of weirwoods that used to exist here before Harrenhal was built, she may have seen like her entire home destroyed and all of her people mostly killed. So yeah, she could she could consider herself cursed, certainly. Um, but then she puts her hand on his as he holds the dragon eggs, and she says, "You've been alone your whole life, Aemond." And she says, "Do you ever wonder what it would be like for it to be otherwise?" And he says that the egg is warm, which is really interesting. Like, that is what Dany noticed about her dragon eggs just before they hatched. Like, they were cold to the touch for everyone else, but for her, they were warm. So this is an interesting little setup that they're doing. Is Alice Rivers about to get a dragon? I guess we will have to see. She says there's an ancient strength here. And she says, "Let the gods turn their backs on us," which is interesting because the old gods and her seem to be very much in lockstep. I think this might be a little bit of manipulation on her part because think that I don't think that the gods have necessarily turned their back on her. She's like straight up working with the green men who are like as close to the old gods as you can get without being one of the old gods. Um so yeah, this is an interesting line that I take as a bit of manipulation. And are these the eggs that Daenerys gets later? No. I mean, in book canon, the eggs that Daenerys gets later are laid by the same dragon, Dreamfire, but they are stolen by Alyssa Farman and sold to the Sea Lord of Braavos so that she can fund a ship that she wants to build and sail off to see what's west of Westeros. And in the books, it's pretty heavily implied that those are the three eggs that end up with Daenerys. In the show, they seem to have sort of implied maybe those eggs that Rhaena was sent off with when she was supposed to go to Pentos, maybe those are Dany's eggs. That would be a change from book canon, but in either book or show, I don't think that these eggs end up with Daenerys. Um, so yeah. Um, let's see. This is an interesting answer as well. She could be a normal person possessed by the ghost of Harrenhal. That is an interesting take. We'll see. Um, but so she says, "Let the gods turn their backs on us. We will make our own fortune. I will be the lady of the water, and you will be the dragon lord by my side." She could just be talking about the God's Eye Lake, but when I first heard this line, I absolutely thought like, oh man, Lady of the Water, Hammer of the Waters. That's like a very like if she is a child of the forest in disguise, that is absolutely like an interesting way to phrase that. That like she's seems to care more about being the Lady of the God's Eye more so than being the Lady of Harrenhal. So yeah, it's really interesting. She does have those old godsy magic vibes as well, yeah. She doesn't have necessarily like the look of the Night's Queen, but she's absolutely got those vibes for sure. So yeah. She says, "You'll be the Dragon Lord by my side." And yeah, I do think it is about the God's Eye. It's just it's an interesting phrasing when the Children of the Forest weapon that they used was the Hammer of the Waters, and she's the Lady of the Water. But yeah, that is possibly just me reaching because I suspect her of maybe being a child of the forest. We'll have to see. We just put a pin in that in case if she's revealed to be a child of the forest later, we'll come back to it. um but she says that you're a Targaryen prince. It's interesting. She says, "You'll be the Dragon Lord by my side, but in the meantime, you're a Targaryen prince, and your sons will be Targaryen princes in their turn." And then they start to kiss. So it is becoming clear that she's like, "Hey, I want to have your babies, Aemond. Let's make some Targaryen princes. Let's give them dragon eggs. Let's take over the world, basically. We'll rule from our seat of Harrenhal and take over the world together." And Aemond seems to like the pitch. So yeah. Yeah, yeah. interesting things going on at Harrenhal. Then we cut back to Rhaenyra. They're complaining about how they don't have enough tallow for candles and everything's so expensive. And she tries to blame Torrin Manderly, which was Mysaria's plan. She's just like, "Look, don't ask me. I have a master of coin. You should ask him." And they're just like, "Well, you're the queen. What are you gonna do about it?" And then they talk about how a girl was taken because they don't have enough guards. The gold cloaks are being killed, they're quitting, the streets are becoming lawless. So we go from, hey, we don't have enough tallow for candles, to, hey, this girl was taken and assaulted and possibly killed, and Rhaenyra's only thing that she says is, I will light a candle for her, which just pisses off everybody because it's like we don't have enough candles, and that's not helping. That's just like, it's like saying thoughts and prayers, but even more offensive because they were just talking about how thoughts and prayers are 3 times more expensive than they used to be, and we can't afford any thoughts and prayers. And Rhaenyra is just like, well, you know what? Thoughts and prayers for the girl who maybe was just killed. Um, and she gets cut by the throne. So for the Rhaenyra haters out there who are like, oh my god, the show glazes Rhaenyra so much they haven't even had her be cut by the throne. There it is. There you go. She she has now been cut by the throne as she is being dismissive of the petitions that she's hearing. And yeah, it's not great. It definitely distracts her that she has been cut by the throne, and she just kind of ignores the clamoring of the peasants with their petitions, and she leaves with her guards. And I do like the subtitle saying the clamoring continues. So yeah, it's a scene showing that Rhaenyra is sort of losing her grip on the small folk of the city now as well. She is unable to answer their petitions. She is being cut by the throne. She's growing frustrated. Things are not going well in King's Landing. Meanwhile, Daemon is dressed up as a gold cloak, walking the streets of the city, hoping he can figure out what exactly is going on. And Heterochromia Guy, the former Hightower guard who is leading this resistance, starts following him, thinking that he is just a normal gold cloak. And he is about to stab him, but then he's like, "Oh shoot, Daemon Targaryen, you have plot armor." So he realizes he's gotten himself into some trouble here. When he recognizes that no, this is no ordinary gold cloak. This is Daemon Targaryen, and Daemon's asking him, how many of you are there? And he's just like, we have no number. Every one of us you kill, you make 1,000 more. We are the people of the kingdoms. We will never be stopped. You can never find us. He says, until Daeron the Daring takes his rightful place, we will never rest. And then Daemon's like, well, then you're going to get killed by dragons. And he's just like, no, we're all the people. Like, you can't burn all of the people of your kingdoms. Yeah, he said you only drive more to our cause, and you will never make us embrace her. And then Daemon stabs him in the side of the head. So yeah, he's this guy is dead. Now, the episode is called Faceless Men. This is something I didn't bring up before. If this guy pops up alive next episode, that would be dang crazy. I don't think he's actually a faceless man. I have not personally gotten the vibes that the faceless men were behind these killings of the gold cloaks, but the title of this episode being Faceless Men really makes me wonder. Like, I'm not on board yet that these are faceless men doing this, but if we see this guy alive next episode, it is basically confirmed. So I don't know. I think, yeah, it is a weird title. It probably should have been like Butcher's Ball, right? But it was not. And yes, this I do agree with. He is far too crap at his job to be a faceless man. That is accurate with what we see in this scene. I don't, as I said, I don't get any vibes of them being faceless men behind this. Granted, that Last Supper scene was impressive. Like, that was on the level of faceless man work. But this dude getting caught by Daemon here, that was not on the level of Faceless Man shenanigans. So I don't know. I would personally hope that he doesn't pop back up next episode. Um, and that it's not a Faceless Man. Yeah, they aren't immortal. What it would be, what the implication would be, is that there are like multiple Faceless Men using this same face within the city, which would be crazy. That'd be wild shenanigans, and I would not expect them to do that. But then they titled the episode Faceless Men, and now I don't know. Like I don't understand that title in general, other than like either it is just about how like exactly what he says, like you can't find us all because we are just the plain-faced people of the kingdom. There's nothing special about us. We're not identifiable. We are, for all intents and purposes, faceless. um so yeah, it it is probably not the case that there are a bunch of faceless men using this dude's identity and face. But if he's back next episode, I I guess that's what we're gonna have to talk about next time. But for now, no. Leader of the Resistance is dead, which is also kind of disappointing. Like I thought they were building this dude up to be a little bit more than this, and now he's just dead. Um, so I don't know. I don't know what exactly well, I don't know what's gonna happen next with the Resistance. Um, But yeah, so then Damon is walking back and he shoulder checks a random man in the city, and it turns out to be Ulf. Ulf and Damon run into each other. He yells at him, "Watch where you're going," and then he realizes who he's talking to. He's like, "Oh, sorry, Your Grace." And Damon's just like, why the hell are you here? You're not supposed to be out getting drunk in the city. You're grounded, bucko. Remember? You're not supposed to leave the house." And he's just like, well, I was, and this is where I got the thumbnail image of Damon in his armor, just looking very angry at Ulf. I just love, I just love this facial expression from Damon here. And he's just like, "Are you not commanded to stay under guard in the keep?" And Ulf is rightly like, "Listen, man, I'm working like full on 48-hour shifts, sitting on a hill, keeping an eye on your enemies. I deserve to at least go have a drink with the lads every once in a while." He says, "Men deserve their simple pleasures." And he says, "You yourself should understand." He gives him a smile, and Damon smacks him to the ground. And he steps on him, and he says, "Set foot in the city again, and I'll put out your eyes." Makes a big scene and embarrasses Ulf in front of all of the small folk of the city. Um, so yeah, it's again, it's they're not treating Ulf very good, and it is not a good thing to give a guy a dragon and then just constantly piss him off. But yeah, they look down on Ulf. They don't think he's worth anything, even when he very clearly now is. They think he is just like a piece on the board for them to be messing around with, I guess. Um, so yeah, we then cut to the other Dragon Seed taking some agency, and he is doing a carjacking. He does a carjacking or a cart jacking, I suppose. Straight up GTA style, rips him out, punches him, takes his cart, and yeah, it's not great for this guy. Um, so yeah, yeah. Yes, Damon absolutely wrong for what he's doing. The armor does look funny on Damon, absolutely. Um, it looks very funny, and I love it. Like I said, this right here, this scene specifically, this little screenshot is my favorite. One of the best, funniest Damon screenshots I think that we've gotten, of him just being completely like angry and disappointed and surprised all at once while wearing his goofy little helmet to hide his Targaryen hair. It's great. Um, but so yeah, we have Hugh do a carjacking, steal this dude's clothes, presumably kills him, or at the very least leaves him unconscious and naked on the side of the road. So probably also killing him, even if he didn't actually do it himself. And then he makes his way into the city, and we also see the Baratheon assassin team making their way into the city at the same time. So yeah. Uh as he's coming in, Ormond is talking about how the common man is nothing is basically the common man is to be ignored, but you must never trust one who's clawed his way to power because their desire for power is based on some lacking, some inadequacy, and basically he's saying, look, we are better than the common folk, but any common folk who have gained any amount of power or have moved up in the world, it must be because they are untrustworthy and they feel inferior to us because we are so obviously better. And he says you should think on that when you choose your hand. Basically saying like, hey, pick me as your hand. He says Rhaenyra made a rare good choice with Corlys Velaryon. There is soundness to his breeding. Again, basically being like, hey, pick me because I am from a great noble house. I have nothing to strive for. And a very, very funny thing. He says he's there's a soundness to his breeding, not the sordid appetite of the striver. And then Darren asks, what about Otto Hightower? Which is hilarious because Otto Hightower is from the same sound breeding that Ormond has, and he had absolutely the sordid appetite of the striver. He was like the strivenest striver in the whole first season. The soundness of his breeding does not matter. There is no breeding so sound that you do not strive for power. Ormond is just like directly called out on his bullshit here, basically. Um, and I don't even know if Darren really was thinking about it as he said it, but it is like the perfect comeback to exactly shut down what Ormond just said. Um, so yeah, it's very funny. Um, and yeah, he says, "What of my grandsire?" And he says, "Otto, where do I begin?" And Gawain kind of gives him a look of like, "What are you about to say about my dad, man?" But like the fact that he chuckles and like laughs off Otto when Otto is the perfect counterexample to the point that he was just making. And again, he's dismissive of Otto, and as I said earlier, he is like in his best case scenario going to become Otto Hightower. Like that is like the ultimate goal of his entire plan that he is risking the lives of his entire army for. Like he wants to be what Otto used to be. And he's so pretending that he's better than Otto when really he is striving to just be as powerful as Otto. It's a very funny dynamic. I love it personally. Like Otto is the thing that just pokes holes in every little thing that Ormond is saying here and doing here. And yeah, I wish we didn't get interrupted. I wish he would have gone on a little monologue about Otto Hightower so we get to hear more apparently about how he feels about him because yeah, that is a like it's a hell of a situation. Like I wish we got to see what exactly he said about Otto Hightower because it would have given us even more of an insight into Ormond's character. I assume he would have just been dismissive of Otto. But it would have been hard to, right? Like it would have been hard to talk down about Otto when you were just talking about the soundness of your own breeding. And he's from the same family, and it would have been hard to point out the reality of Otto, which is that he's a striver and he has that appetite when you just said that no, a Hightower would never have the sordid appetite of a striver. So yeah, I think he's a little bit saved by the fact that this conversation gets interrupted because everything he would have said, I think, kind of would have undermined his points. So yeah, he's just like, well, where do I even begin? And then these stinky stinky mud poop dudes in their Baratheon armor walk in, and I love the like audio effect that we get when Ormond is like freaking out because of how horrible the stench is, as they come and they say they're the envoy of Lord Boros Baratheon, and Ormond is just like, "Oh my god, you smell so freaking bad. I can't even focus on what's going on right now." Um, it's great. It's great. Yeah, this scene is very good. Um, and he says, he is Sir Arian Baratheon, and Gwaine is like, "Wait a minute now." His spidey senses are tingling. Uh, he says the road was long and filthy, and the reason that they came in this current state and their current stench, which Ormond just straight up can't handle, he has to like walk away from. He says he thought it was best to speak to you immediately, and the whole time Gwaine is just like eagle-eyed, like staring these dudes down because he knows that this is a lie at this point. Um, and so they say they want to bend the knee to the new king on behalf of Lord Boros. And it's interesting because Ormond says, right when they come in, he's like, "Oh yeah, good. The Stormlands will lead the way. Highgarden will have no choice but to follow." And that is kind of funny because it means like even the Reach, where these guys are from, is not on their side. Like straight up, the kingdom they are from isn't even supporting them yet. Like the great houses, including the one they are the closest to, have not come to their side. But he's jacked that the Stormlands, he thinks, are now coming to their side. So that would be the first thing that has gone right for Ormond's plan. And they ask to see the king in person, and he points out Darren, and just as they're like taking the first step forward, Gwaine grabs a knife and slices this dude's throat open, and Ormond freaks out and he's yelling, stop him," pointing at Gwaine because he thinks Gwaine is ruining everything. Like Ormond's freak out here is entirely directed at Gwaine, and like from Ormond's perspective, they have finally had the first thing of his entire plan go right, and Gwaine has just sliced the dude's throat open just as he started to swear fealty to Darren. And he's shouting, "Stop him, stop him." He's angrily yelling at Bold John to stop Gwaine from murdering these dudes who have just come to swear fealty to Darren. But Darren realizes, like, no, and he holds Bold John down. He says no, because Darren is like, well, Gwaine is way smarter and better than Ormond. So if Gwaine is killing these guys, he's got to have a good reason for it. Essentially, Darren trusts Gwaine so much more than Ormond that even without any more information, he's just like, well, if Gwaine is on this, if Gwaine is doing this, Gwaine's probably doing the right thing. So yeah, Gwaine eventually gets a moment to pause his murdering of these dudes to say that they're assassins sent for you and for Darren. So then Ormond figures out what's going on. They murder all of the rest of them. And Darren is very clearly traumatized by everything that he's just seen. And yeah, Darren literally just like trusts Gwaine instantly because between Gwaine and Ormond, obviously you trust Gwaine. Um, but yeah, so then Ormond uh, is like wondering what the hell happened, and Gwaine points out that Sir Arian Baratheon has hair of light chestnut, and he's a foot taller and much hotter. So Gawain, with his gaydar, was able to save all of their lives, and maybe Ormond will make a little less fun of him now that. And as we talked about earlier, him being gay wasn't just for no reason. It paid off it directly in this episode, because he knows that, oh, hey, yeah, this guy is way uglier than Arian Baratheon. He's shorter, he's uglier, this is not the right guy. And the fact that he clocked that immediately is the only thing that saved them. So, yeah, uh, Gawain is the entire reason that Ormond and Darren are even alive at this point. So maybe Ormond won't do the don't drop the soap joke anymore, but knowing Ormond, I imagine he might still just be as bad. He might still be just as terrible. But yeah. So he calls Rhaenyra some bad words and says that she will die wishing she never dared. And then he throws up everywhere because of the stench of all the poo and the blood and the guts that have spilled out into their dining room. So yeah, big aura loss for Ormond here in this scene. Just getting taken for a ride, getting saved by the guy he made fun of, almost getting killed, and then throwing up everywhere. It's just not a great look for Ormond here. Um, but then, oh boy, this scene. I don't know if this is going to be controversial, but this is the scene where Hugh's wife is like, "Oh, I heard Kristen Cole, the fans most like the fandom's voted most annoying character has been killed. I need to become the new most annoying character. I am taking up the mantle of Sir Kristen Cole and becoming the most hateable character in the show." Um but yeah, she's just like, "I went home, but you were gone," or he says, "I went home, but you were gone. I can't believe like you're here. What happened?" And she says, "What choice did I have?" It's like, I don't know, Kat. How about you wait like another day, another hour, even? We'll get to it in just a moment. But he's like, "Kat, I've done it. I have. I have tamed a dragon. We are going to be rich. We're going to be powerful. Our lives are going to be great. I did the impossible thing for you, for me, for our lives. Like, it is great." And she's just like, "You smell different." It's like, "Yeah, I smell like a freaking dragon, probably, because I have a dragon now, Cat. We'll have coin now. Your husband is a dragon rider. Why are you not happy about this?" Um, and she says, "Do you know how many days it takes to walk the road from King's Landing to Tumbleton? And how many bad things can happen to a woman alone on that road?" And how many, he says, "Did something happen?" And she said, "Many things happened while you were on Dragonstone." And Cat, you are a liar. You are a liar. You know how I know you're a liar? Because this is you looking up at your husband flying into King's Landing. You were never on the road while he was at Dragonstone. You waited in King's Landing until the dragons all showed up, knowing that, okay, you are now in a position to find out if your husband is alive or dead. It is fair that you assumed he did not claim a dragon. Only 2 people claimed a dragon, everyone else died. It is fair that you assumed that he is dead. But you waited until you could confirm that and then left without confirming it. If you had waited one more day, he went into the city to find you. You left the day that the dragons got there, Cat. Like, this is you staring at your husband's big dragon in the city. So, no, you were not on the road while he was on Dragonstone. You waited until the day he got to King's Landing and then left. This is your fault, Cat. You could have waited another day. I I have been I have been holding back my cat rant like this whole time, this whole week. Like, what is wrong with you? Why did you do this? She says, "I needed you here on the ground." And he's just like still apologizing to her, even though, like, come on, Cat, you could have just not had any of this happen. Like, this is all your fault. You could have just checked. If you find out your husband is dead, fine, be really mad at him. Go to Tumbleton. That's a fair thing to do once you check, hey, is that my husband on the big dragon? This big dragon that I'm staring at, not having left King's Landing yet? Is that him? Like, nope, okay. Because this, by the way, is from episode 2, when Rhaenyra was flying into the city, right? Like, this is from episode 2, this screenshot. So, I don't know, man. Like, yeah, no, the people are pointing out like some people hate on Cat in the main book series. Hating on Cat in the main book series, wrong. Hating on Cat in House of the Dragon, absolutely correct. Like, we got a new Cat to hate, and this time it is based. This time, like, it is accurate, and she is making terrible decisions. Nobody should be hating on Kat in the main series. Every time someone's hating on Kat, we're talking about this one now. We got a new Kat hate wagon, and I will drive the wagon. I don't care. Like, unless she redeems herself a lot, which I don't think she's going to, she has become like the most hateable character. Like, this is the valid, yeah, this is the valid Kat hate here. Like, this is the valid Kat hate train that everyone ought to be on. Um, and he's just like, listen, I'm going to get you out of this city. I am not going to leave you here where you can be killed. I am taking you to safety. My wife, who I love, who I risked my life for to make your life better. I am trying to save your life. Why are you yelling at me? And she's just like super angry, like so mad at him over it. Um, like, ah, I don't get it, man. She yells, "Who are you?" He's like, "I am your husband. Granted, I may be different because I am now mentally bonded with like the most powerful dragon. I might be a little bit different. I might smell a little bit different, but damn it, I'm trying to save your life. Like, what what do you what do you want from me?" And this is the look that you this is the look that you give when you realize, "Oh man, I tamed a giant dragon and my wife has turned into a horrible person at the same time." Like, yeah, massive come up in life, massive downgrade in the home life, basically for Hugh here. He's just like, you were not this insane before, Kat. I don't know what happened to you. Like, Kat, you have changed more than Hugh has. Like, I get it that you didn't want him to go, but at this point, he's been proven correct. Like, he has been objectively proven correct, and what I still can't get over is that you were standing in King's Landing in episode 2 when he flew on in. I just I don't understand. If they would have taken out the scene of Kat looking up as he flew in, a lot of her complaints may be a little bit more justified. If she had left the city before he came back, it would be a little different. But she didn't. She left after he came back without bothering to check, hey, is that my husband up there? So, yeah, ooh, I don't know, man. Hugh, King, listen, man, you can do better, King. You gotta find a wife who respects your giant dragon, I think. I think that, like, I don't know if you can get an annulment as a dragon rider. I don't know if you can do the Dewey Cox thing of like, well, can you be married to two people if you're famous? Like, Hugh, you can't be married to two people. Well, what if you have a giant dragon? I mean, there's historical context for people with a big dragon being married to two people. I think, Hugh, that you gotta go get yourself a new wife is roughly what I take away from this scene. Um, but yeah, it's a baffling scene from Kat, and I straight up just think the Kristen Cole hate train has gone. I think we're all on board the Kat hate train now. We'll see, I guess, what happens next episode, but yeah, just shocking stuff from Kat. Um, so yeah, then we get to see Darren having 3v1 fights in the training yard and winning, proving he is a super badass, as is the case with many of the Targaryens. Super well trained with the best men at arms and good fighters, and Darren is no different. He is actively winning 3v1s. So, yeah. Uh, Gwaine, they're up in the window looking down on him. Gwaine says he'd make a good king. Not that that matters to you. And Ormond's like, what do you take me for, or whatever? And he's just like, I think you would sacrifice a lot of lives to feed your own pride, but I know you'd never sacrifice your own. So what is the plan here? Um, which, yeah, Ormond's plan hasn't been a good one. Granted, I like to give Ormond the benefit of the doubt. His original plan was to take Tumbleton occupy the city, and then Aemond shows up with Vhagar. That was his original plan. So like him not having a master plan now is not actually that big of an indictment of Ormond. When he took Tumbleton, he assumed that the biggest dragon in the world was going to come very soon, and they were going to be fighting with the biggest dragon in the world. Once Aemond fled, his entire plan had to change. So him not having a good plan does actually completely make sense. He is now making it up as he goes. But yeah, he's not really in the best situation, because like once he took Tumbleton, he can't just like march away either. As Gwaine points out, there's a big dragon on the hill. The second you leave, you're gonna get roasted. Um, so like yeah, his plan is I'm making it up as I go, basically. But he is like, for the fact that he's making it up as he goes, he's doing assassinations. He is turning King's Landing into a place where it is almost impossible for Rhaenyra to rule with everything that's going on. So like, he's making do with what he has, and he could be doing a lot worse. Yeah. Shout out to David Lightbringer in chat. He says yes, Nana versus no Nana. Nana Vhagar not being there is a massive blow to any sort of planning that you could be trying to do. It is very difficult to overcome that loss, which is why I did say like his crash out when he chopped on the table and yelled the word that you can't say on YouTube over and over again. It was a valid crash out. I'm not saying you should be abusive and throw things and break things in 99.9% of cases, but when you have just risked your life and the life of 15,000 other people to put someone on the throne, and then that person runs away with the giant nuclear warhead that is meant to win you the war, it's a little bit valid to throw something and be very angry at that person. Like, you are literally basically being told you're going to die because the person you risked your life for ran away scared. That's a valid time to crash out if ever there is one. So yeah, Ormond, I don't know. Um, he he doesn't have a good plan, but it is not necessarily his fault. He may actually be a pretty decent planner given the circumstances at this point. Um, so then we cut back to Alicent and Rhaenyra talking about Helaena. Um, and Alicent is like trying to ask for Helaena to be free, and Rhaenyra's like, "I was told you had something useful for me. What are you doing here?" And he says, "I know where Aemond is." And Rhaenyra's like, "Wait, this whole time? What?" And she's like, "He's at Harrenhal." And she says, "How did you come by this?" Because Alicent says, "No, I only found this out recently." She says, "How did you find this out?" And she says, "Well, Helaena sees things sometimes, but the things that she sees do come to pass." So Alicent is aware that Helaena has occasional visions that are genuinely true, and Rhaenyra instantly is like, "Oh, damn, she's a dreamer. She's like Daenerys who foresaw the doom." That's really interesting. So it is going to be interesting to see where uh where this goes in the future. I'm actually really curious to see how Rhaenyra reacts to this, and I assume she will talk to Helaena. And yeah, that's going to be an interesting interaction. Um, so yeah, and yeah, Alicent did lie to Ormond, saying, "Hey, make camp there. Vhagar is coming to your aid," and that was not actually a letter from Aemond. So yeah, Ormond was also straight up lied to. So yeah, he has been put in a horrible position on like every level. Ormond Ormond is working against a lot of forces outside of his control and still somehow not dead. So yeah, he does deserve that amount of credit. Um so yeah, Rhaenyra realizes Helaena is a dreamer. We'll have to see where that goes. Um and This is a good question. Does she occasionally have visions, or do they only occasionally listen to her? I think she has more visions than they listen to, but I don't know that she's like having visions all the dang time necessarily. I don't know. It's interesting to wonder how often dreamers in this world are having dreams. Um, but yeah, so they used to not listen to her at all. They are now occasionally listening to her, which is nice for Helena. That I'm sure that feels good to occasionally have your psychic powers like taken seriously. But so yeah, then Rhaenyra's like, okay, we need to kill Aemond. He's at Harrenhal. I could send assassins, but that won't go well. If I just send one assassin, one who he trusts, and Alicent is like, oh shoot, oh no, what have I gotten myself into now? And yeah, Rhaenyra tells Alicent that you have to go to Harrenhal and kill your son. um, so yeah, it's uh, it's an interesting situation, and Alicent points out like, hey, I told you that this would happen. I told you that holding on to power would make you do unthinkable, horrible things. And you're now sending me to kill my son. Like, I was right. um, so yeah. Yeah. Um, and yeah, where's Dreamfire at? I assume in the Dragon Pit. I hope we get to see Dreamfire soon. I really do. I hope that Helena and Dreamfire get a scene this season. We saw Dreamfire, I think, like one time when they were leaving Driftmark, right? I think we did see Dreamfire maybe once, like flying off in the distance. But yeah, hopefully we'll get to see Dreamfire again soon. Um, so yeah, then Alicent, after being told that she needs to go kill her son, is explaining this to Helena, and she's just like, "Well, I don't want to be alone here." And Alicent's like, "I know I don't want to be alone either, but I need to go do this, and then I'll be back, and it'll be fine." And Helena asks her, like, "Why am I here? Like, why am I married to my brother? Was there no other lord who offered for my hand?" And she asks, "Was it your idea to marry me to my brother?" And Alicent says that it was Otto's wish, but she didn't stand against it because she thought it would be for the best that Helena stay with her in the castle rather than being sent away with some lord that she doesn't know. Um, so yeah, it was a really interesting little heart to heart here where Helena's just like, dang, like, why is my life the way that it is? Is this all your fault? Um, and yeah, 90% at least, right? Is it's at least 90% Allison's fault, like 10% Otto, or I don't know, maybe you could give Otto a little bit more there, but yeah. Helena's life ain't great, but she does eat a little bit of soup before Alicent leaves, and Alicent's like, okay, you had one spoonful of broth. I am now feeling safe that I can leave knowing that you will like actually eat. So then yeah, Alicent leaves. And Rhaenyra gets sent back one of those Baratheon outfits that she sent the assassins wearing. You can see the Baratheon sigil there on the outfit. And in blood, it is written, "Kick this dog, and it will bite your hand." So yeah, we get that ominous wording, and then we see Rhaenyra's hand, Corlys Velaryon. So kick this dog, and it will bite your hand. And then her hand is surrounded by the jetpacking bold John Roxton. I don't know how he got there. I don't know how he found Corlys, but he did. Now, granted, they are out in the Riverlands, somewhere, I think, hunting pirates. So it could just be the case that their scouts knew where Corlys's party was, and then they sent out a party to gather him. But yeah, that is the last scene that we see is they wrap a chain around Corlys's neck or a rope or something and like start to yank him down. And Bold John stares boldly into the dark distance. So yeah, that is a hell of a cliffhanger for the end of the episode. Corlys Velaryon has been captured somehow. Um so yeah. Interesting interesting scene. That like how did he get how did he get there? How did they know where he was? But again, you can assume maybe he's near enough to Tumbleton hunting down the pirates. Maybe they have scouts, all that, but it was yeah, interesting. Interesting scene. Um and yeah, his men are in the camp. I don't know if they have like a big force that was also there attacking the men in the camp or if they were just like quick and quiet enough that he didn't cry out. Um but yeah, it was a scene that yeah, I understand why some people are like that's a little bit unrealistic or a little bit weird that he just instantly knows where he is, but hey, it's a interesting cliffhanger to leave the episode on. I don't know if it would have been did they really need to show us like another scene of him talking to a scout being like, hey, Corlys is here, and then like another scene of them sneaking through the woods? Like that would have tied together the continuity and the timeline, sure, but it would have sacrificed the surprise of seeing Corlys Velaryon attacked in the middle of the woods by Ormond's second in command. So I can understand why they did it the way that they did it. We just have to assume that off screen he talked to a scout and then they figured out where Corlys was and set up this ambush plan. So yeah. Um I don't know where they're going with this. This is going to be a hell of an interesting situation. But hello April May, good to see you, and hello to anyone who has joined recently in the chat. Um but yeah, what did we think of the episode? Any other big thoughts from you guys in chat? Or any massive questions about the episode or anything like that. Um, and yeah, like I do understand the jetpacking question here. Again, we don't know necessarily how far away Corlys was from Tumbleton, and we don't know the timeline. So like we can assume in our heads maybe it has been more time than it would imply based on how quickly the scenes happen in succession to one another. But yeah. Ooh, yeah, this would be actually interesting. I wonder if they will try to do a hostage exchange of some sort. Um, so yeah. The open book behind Rhaenyra, read it. When is it when she's what scene is the open book behind Rhaenyra? I don't know if I would have a screenshot of it, but if there's something interesting in there, definitely shout that out in the chat. Um, but yeah. And yeah, no, this is the thing. Like, I've said this before. There are two ways to watch media like this. One of which is that you can assume the worst of like, oh, he didn't see every step of the process, therefore he must have jetpacked there, and they found him with magic because it's like, well, or you can assume they have scouts out, several days have passed. Like, you can assume a realistic chain of events, even if you're not shown every step in that chain, or you can assume an unrealistic chain of events and get angry and complain on Twitter and Reddit. And getting unrealistically angry, like assuming the worst and getting angry, will probably get you more attention on Twitter and Reddit and more updates. But it will make you enjoy the media you're watching less. So yeah, it it is your choice how you want to handle that. I did make a jetpack joke, so I guess I am slightly guilty of it here. But yeah, no, like in reality, when we watch this stuff, I do assume like, okay, like he had scouts, it's been several days, like that is the reasonable chain of events. They do not need to actually show us everything. I don't see like I don't have a close enough screenshot of the open book to know what is in there. Um yeah, no. Like if anyone knows what is in the open book behind Rhaenyra's head, if there is something interesting, uh let us know. That would be That would be interesting, but I definitely don't have the quality of screenshot I would need to zoom in and see what any of those words are. Yeah, enhance, throw it into do the worst enhancement, throw it into AI and be like, "Hey, ChatGPT, make this bigger. Show me what these words are." And then it just makes up a bunch of words that aren't actually there. That would be that would be fun. But no, I if anyone like if they did release a high quality enough screenshot where you can see what's actually in there, um, that would be interesting. And yeah, no, the CSI like the funny thing is I have seen like actual serious people try to do like AI enhancements as though that would be a real thing, and that's just like a fundamental misunderstanding of how the technology works. Like you can't put pixels there that aren't actually there and have them be real. But yeah, no, like we're still a little ways off from the CSI level of enhancements that we would need to actually be able to figure it out. But yeah, no, if anyone has a high quality enough screenshot, maybe one does exist. But it certainly ain't the one that I took the screenshot on my laptop as I watched the episode. Thank you very much for the super chat. I really hope next episode we'll get the TV scene where someone loses a dog that someone else finds between Allison and Alice calling to Amond, with Amond in the middle having to go to the mom he likes. But okay, yeah, no, that would be very funny. Like Alice and Allison are, yes, I get what you're saying. Yes, like Amond is the lost dog between his two moms, his mom who raised him and the mom he's been living with for the last week, and they're both calling, "Come here, boy! Come here, boy! Come on! Come on, Amond! Come to mommy!" And then he has to like pick which one, and yeah, that would be very, very funny. Um, and honestly, might not be far off. Like that might not be far off from the vibes that we get. Both of them going, "Come to mama, come on, Eamon, be a good boy, come to mommy." Yeah, that would be good. Um, okay, yeah, if it would make sense if it's a book about Visenya. Rhaenyra has been reading books about Visenya before, so yeah, that's that is a definite possibility for sure. And yes, this is probably accurate. He will probably pick the one that he gets to bang, which is Alice Rivers. And yeah, that like I genuinely wouldn't be surprised if it's not far off from that. Um I hope you enjoyed your nap. We are through all of the slides of the episode, so now we're just kind of doing some idle chat. Probably going to wrap up somewhat soon, but I got enough time to chat for a little longer. And then I will probably not. We won't go like a full 3 hours this episode, but you know, I've been putting out a lot of content lately, so there is other things for you guys to watch after this for sure. And I do have some more videos on the schedule to be made. So if we wrap up early enough, I might be able to record one more or so before bed tonight. We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, I guess should we do spoiler zone where people in chat can talk about it? That is probably fair. We've gotten all the way through the episode. We chatted about it a little bit. Let's declare spoilers. If you really don't want any spoilers, now is probably the time to leave. Thank you all very much for watching. Make sure you like all that good stuff. There is other content that I've put out recently you can check out, all about the crazy reveals that we've gotten about Robert's Rebellion and all that good stuff. So yeah, let's officially say we are entering the spoiler zone. Final warning, I'll say it a few more times as we go. But yeah, we are spoiler zone. So let's see here. Was it in this slideshow here? But yeah, spoiler warning. Good night to everyone who is on their way out of here. The main thing I wanted to talk about in spoiler zone is this scene, but also where was it? I think it was actually like way down here. Or was it earlier? Was it earlier in the episode where Helena had her tapestry? Yeah, it must have been. Let's see. This scene of them. Yeah. This is the thing that I feel like is the big spoiler zone discussion, right? Okay, so what do we think is going on here? You can now full spoilers in chat. Like Aemond, if this is a womb, right? And if we're talking womb here, Aemond and Alice Rivers, he knocks up Alice Rivers. We don't exactly know where that whole storyline goes in the end, but she does claim to have the heir to Aemond. And there is even, I think, rumors that she's spotted at one point with a dragon, right? So, like, she's got dragon eggs. Um, she's got Aemond's Targaryen prince that she's getting knocked up with. This is a weird old tapestry. Like, does this symbolize baby Aemond in a womb? Like, is this symbolizing a child of Aemond? Uh, it looks like blood dripping and connecting to the weirwoods. It could also be symbolizing Aemond dying and feeding the weirwoods, being trapped in this like cocoon of blood. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, maybe the blue leaves could represent the God's Eyes connection to the weirwoods as well. Like, because we were talking earlier about the blue leaves are weird on the tree, but like maybe it is a representation that like the blood will feed the water and the weirwoods. Uh and yeah, Alice Rivers kind of like yeah, it could be her leeching off of him, or it could be the idea of her, with a Aemond in the womb, could be the blood sacrifice. I mean, oh, that's interesting. Are Alice's hair there snakes? There are big strands of hair there. I haven't zoomed in fully on her hair, but yeah. And yes, it does seem like the fruit of their union will feed the Harrenhal weirwoods, as will Aemond. So yeah, this is the main thing that I was like, I don't know. I don't know if this is baby Aemond or if this is Aemond himself, right? It could symbolize either one. Um, and yeah, we did talk about this earlier on, but yeah, it definitely is Shade of the Evening vibes with the leaf color. Um, so yeah, I don't know if that's what it's meant to symbolize necessarily, or because the Shade of the Evening trees obviously have the different colored bark, but maybe a weirwood could have blue leaves if in the correct circumstance. I don't know. It's a weird piece of artwork. Um, there are of course the dragon eggs there in the artwork. Helena's got her bug that is like munching on the strand that is like connecting to the ground there below the womb cocoon thing. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Um, yeah, they do kind of look mushroomy. It definitely could be like Eamon tripping out at Harrenhal in like within the magic of Alice Rivers. Like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think like once it is revealed that Alice is pregnant with Aemond, maybe this will make sense. But yeah, I am really interested to see where that whole storyline goes. Um, yeah, some Mario Bros. Ass shrubs. That yes, they do actually. That is a very Mario coded looking like even the castle itself, right? Like Helena must be a fan of Super Mario games for sure. Um, yeah, no, the trees are going to eat him. Um, so yeah, it's it's an interesting bit of artwork that honestly like uh, might require deeper analysis at some point. Um, but yeah, I don't know. And yeah, so we talked about this, like his eye is in the other side in this bit of artwork, which is interesting. And like, so I zoomed way in, as I mentioned earlier, and it almost does look like the sapphire is above where his eye should be, almost like a third eye of like magic sapphire. I don't necessarily know, as I said, if that is meant to be what we're supposed to take from this. But like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if like is this telling us Aemond has his body like strapped into the weirwoods and turned into a White Walker? Probably not, but I don't know, man. He looks like a White Walker in this artwork. There is no denying he straight up looks like a White Walker in this artwork. Um, I would bet he like if you were to tell me I have to bet $5 one way or the other, I would probably bet that he doesn't get turned into a White Walker, but he looks like one in this artwork. Um, and you know, you guys know me. I think the White Walkers are shadow babies of those connected to the Weirwoods and tapping into Weirwood magic. So if Alice Rivers gets pregnant with Aemond, she could maybe birth some Aemon shadow White Walkers and keep his body like stored alive down in the roots of the Weirwoods or some crazy shenanigans and make White Walkers with him. And that is womb symbolism and him looking like a White Walker as Alice Rivers looks over him and his blood is connecting to the Weirwood trees. So like I don't know. I don't know, man. There's a lot there. There is a lot there that like maybe we got some White Walkery shenanigans being implied with this. Um People have talked about Damon as well, being potentially strapped into the Weirwood trees after the God's Eye. And yeah, I mean either one of them could end up like this. I don't know. It's weird. And like if that eye is not a sapphire, if that eye is the White Walkery blue eye, yes, we are in spoiler section. I should say that every once in a while for people who are just joining. We are in spoiler section. Full spoilers in chat, full spoilers in what we're talking about here now. So if you don't want that, you got to go. But yeah, it's what I was saying though is if that's not a sapphire because it's on the wrong side to be Aemon's sapphire eye, this could also be Daemon. People have talked about Daemon uh being turned into a White Walker or Green Sea or whatever. Um this could be Daemon. Maybe it's a fake out that this is Aemon. And like when we see the full show by the end of season 4, we'll look back on this very differently. And yes, thank you, Mayo Nation. Yes, Bloodraven does also look like a White Walker. That is true. He is albino, strapped on into the Weirwood roots. He has absolutely White Walker vibes. Um, so yeah, this is a just I don't know. I could probably stare at this bit of artwork and come up with different potential ideas for like an hour. This is the main thing that I wanted to talk about in spoilery section, and it does have Medusa vibes, yes, with Alice Rivers's hair. I do agree. I haven't zoomed in super closely on it, but it does look like snakes. Um so yeah. Um I don't know, man. And well so this is the thing. If those are snakes in her hair, is that Alice Rivers or Alicent who is being sent to kill Aemond? Like is this Alicent? That's the other question I've wondered, right? She's got the kind of green dress on. Um, so like, is this literally Helena showing Alicent going to Harrenhal and finding Aemon there? I don't know. I assume it's probably Alice Rivers, but depending on what happens, I don't know. Maybe Helena is doing some artwork of her mother on the mission that her mother's about to be sent on, right? That is another thing that like Helena would do. Like she would be like, "Yeah, mom, I know you're about to get sent to Harrenhal to kill my brother, so I'm gonna make some art of you at Harrenhal and Aemond like in the womb, looking like he's dying in the fetal position with his blood feeding the weirwoods." It's Yeah, it's interesting. And yeah, if the snakes are if her hair is snakes and he's in a womb here, it does feel a little bit more likely that this is supposed to be Alicent, like, coming to kill him, being all snaky. And yeah, we are in full spoilers. I will just say that every once in a while as we talk about this, because people do keep joining. The numbers keep changing and going up and down, and we're a little higher than we were last time I said it. So at least a few of you have joined since I last said it. We are in full spoiler section. If you don't want that, start from the beginning and leave when I say full spoiler warning. But glad to have you. Um, but yeah, no, I do like I as I said, I haven't been able to zoom in. I can all I can do is get my head closer to the screen and to the camera at this point. I can't zoom in on this screenshot right now. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if those are snakes. They do look snake-like. Um so yeah. Um let's see. Is there anything else major? I mean, I think mostly the I guess the other major question, again, full spoilers. We are in full spoiler zone. The other major question is how long does Helena have left? Because we saw her poking herself with the needle, doing a little bit of harm to herself. It is definitely pushing her in that direction. Again, full spoilers, full spoilers. Go back to the beginning if you don't want spoilers. We're probably getting close to Helena doing the jumpy jump. Um, but I don't know if it's gonna be next episode doesn't feel like it. I would assume in the season finale, but she might make it to next season. It could be like at the beginning of next season as well. Um, and I would be fine with her making it to next season. I kind of hope she does, but it would also be a crazy moment to end the season on, and it is building in that direction for sure. So yeah, that is kind of how I feel. End of the season or beginning of next is is pretty much where it's got to be. So yeah, I we can see the path that she's on now for sure. Um, if Allison doesn't go to Tumbleton instead of Harrenhal, he'll slap her. That yeah, that's interesting. I wonder if they're gonna do anything with Allison. Like, is she gonna find out that Kristen Cole has died? Right? Like, is she gonna pass the battlefield where Kristen Cole lays dead and see him like dying there full of arrows, or see him dead there full of arrows holding her favor? I don't think they'll do that, but it would be kind of interesting to see her reaction. So yeah, I don't know. Interesting. Yeah, if um I don't think that it is actually two versions. I see what you're saying. Like there would be like one version and then the second version is more raised up. I think I don't do embroidery, so I am putting this together entirely with context clues. Tell me if I'm wrong, but I think that that circle is there to like hold very still the portion of the tapestry that she is pushing the needle through and keep it like tight and make sure that her needlework doesn't like you know, pull the tapestry itself along with it. So yeah, like I think it's just an embroidery tool personally. But again, I'm not an embroiderer. That's just context clues that the chat is telling me that I am correct on. So good to know that I can put things together through context clues, I suppose. Um, yes, okay, this is exactly what I thought it was. So I'm glad that I have at least enough secondhand knowledge of embroidery to figure that one out. Um, my take on Cat is a massive L. Okay, we've got some debate about Cat being unreasonable. I mean, like I've heard the argument that like no, it was selfish of you to go try get a dragon, but like he was right, and they would be poor and defenseless without one, and now they're not. I mean, sure, but also, they're completely helpless and defenseless. Everyone in that city is less powerful than her husband right now. And in war, people have a higher than normal rate of death. Like in a city that is starving, people have a higher than normal rate of death. And again, I cannot stress enough, she waited until her husband returned and she saw him fly overhead on the big dragon. And then she's just like, I'm not gonna wait an hour or two to figure out if that's my husband or not. I'm getting out of here. And I'm gonna blame my husband for how many days I had to walk and how horrible the road was. Well, you were hanging out on Dragonstone, even though you weren't on Dragonstone. You were in the city that I was in and I left anyway. Like, I don't know. I don't have sympathy for this version of Cat. Like, okay, this is the one legitimate criticism. I will say, this is the one legitimate criticism and defense of Cat getting angry. She does directly say, "My brother is dead now." She doesn't say why, she doesn't elaborate, but he instantly is just like, "But Cat, I have a dragon." That is the one thing that Hugh does wrong. Hugh, almost perfect. He did one thing wrong. He was not at all sympathetic when she pointed out her brother is dead. That was bad. That was not good on his part. So neither of them are perfect. Cat should not ever have left King's Landing, but also Hugh should have been and should still be more sympathetic about the fact that her brother is dead. Um, like basically, basically, this is Hugh. Like 10 seconds after she's like, "My brother is dead." He's like, "But Dad, I did it. Your husband's a dragon rider." That is the one. That is the one legitimate criticism. I will absolutely give you guys that. Um, no, he went down. He went into the city like pretty damn quick. She left like the day the dragons showed up in King's Landing. He went out there and then was like, where's my wife? And he went to their home, and I assume like the neighbors or whatever were like, yeah, she left. But like, no, from what I gathered, he went to look for her pretty much at the first available opportunity. It's not like he was like waiting a week and then, like pretty much right after Rhaenyra took the city, he's just like, yeah, I went down into the city and tried to find my wife, and she left for Tumbleton. So yeah. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it it doesn't make that much sense for Cat to be this angry. And we are in full spoiler zone, by the way. If anyone doesn't want spoilers and you just got here, just go start at the beginning. There's plenty for you to watch. But we are in full spoiler zone. And so what I'm about to say is a spoiler. I'm very interested to see how they lead this plot line to Hugh going rogue, right? Like, um, this conversation is certainly a part of that. This is like a thing that is going to go badly for him. And the combination of this going badly and whatever happens with Cat, and again, spoilers, it's going to lead to the betrayals. Like the dragon seeds are being very well set up for the betrayals that are going on. Um, so like the path is very clear in the like why they would say screw Rhaenyra. I'm curious as to how Cat, like what's gonna happen. Is Cat gonna be killed? Like, is Cat like I don't know. Is Cat being this angry gonna just cause him to go crazy? I don't know. I don't know, man. Yeah, this is fair. She's like literally maybe just has no concept of upward mobility. Like that is fair. Like yeah, I don't know. I don't know. And yet, this is a thing, right? Cat did get left alone. Like Steel Manning, the defense of Cat. She got left alone. She did not want her husband to leave. Um, she begged him not to leave, in fact, to her credit, like to again make the best case possible for her. She begged him not to leave. She was left alone for a while. The problem is this. If they had taken this out, if she wasn't one of the people looking up at her husband flying into the city, if she had left while he was on Dragonstone for as long as however long that was, which again probably wasn't that long because they rode to Dragonstone, and I'm sure that Rhaenyra and them are not like about to be like, okay, let's feed and house the dragon seeds for a week before we feed them to the dragons. They probably got there. She gave them a quick speech and then took them in to meet the dragons. So it was probably less than a week. Um, like it was probably less than it was probably a few days from the time that he left to the time he got the dragon, but they did also take a while to come back to the city, so she was alone for quite a while. The problem is this scene. I think like they honestly, if they were going to go this direction with Cat, they should have just cut her being in King's Landing in episode 2. um so yeah, it's weird. Like, I'm sure she doesn't recognize that this is her husband. It's just weird that she waited until her husband potentially returned and then she left. Um, and yeah, they talked about her wanting to go to Tumbleton. That is, it was all well set up. It was all great. The only thing about it that just makes it make no sense is the fact that she waited until the dragons came back. Like when the dragons all got to the city, then she left. So yeah, I don't know. Um, and yeah, this was his one chance at upward mobility, and he took it, and he got it, and she should be jacked about it. Um, and she's not. So yeah, yeah. Um, well, what should Cat's reaction have been? I'm happy to see you, husband. I can't believe you got a dragon. You can save me from this city that my life is constantly at threat. And you can maybe could you save my family too? My brother just got killed. Can you save the rest of us? Like, how are we going to get out of here? That would have been a reasonable reaction, right? Like I don't know. That would have probably been my reaction. One of my family members went off to risk their life to become like one of the most powerful people in the country, and then they show back up and they're like, "Hey, I'm one of the most powerful people in the country now. Uh I want to help you with all of your problems. I want to solve all your problems." I wouldn't like cry and get mad at them. Like, yeah, I don't know. Like there are many reactions that Cat could have had. And again, I will say, he was very insensitive about the fact that her brother has died. That is true. But he also was like, "Hey, did something happen?" And she just said, "Many things happened while you were on Dragonstone." It's like, uh like communicate with him if you want him to communicate with you on that level as well. And yeah, well, yes, but trying to fix emotional trauma and death with a dragon is probably easier than trying to fix it with no dragon, right? In this society, like him being still poor as hell wouldn't bring her brother back. It wouldn't bring their daughter back. Um, he was like, "Hey, we lost our daughter because we're poor and have no ability to take care of her. Even with me having a job, it's not enough. I'm gonna go become rich and powerful so that we have everything we could ever need." and she's just like, no, I'm gonna leave. And then her brother, like, this is not her fault. It is not her fault what I am about to say, but her brother's death was also a direct result of her being there. Were she not there, her brother may be alive. And that is not her fault. It is the fault of the guard, who is a terrible person. I am not blaming her for that, but also it is a thing. Like, it is the reality that, like, had Cat just stayed in King's Landing, almost none of these problems, well, would exist. But yeah, I don't know. Like, yeah, he was at, like, the guard is the one at fault for her brother being dead. But, like, also, yeah, it's just it's a fucked up situation as well. But yeah, it's not great. Not great. Um, but, like, again, it all of this could have been solved by her just staying in King's Landing for one more day. Like, if she had stayed in King's Landing for one more day, she wouldn't have had the horrible road to Tumbleton. She wouldn't have had the horrible time in Tumbleton. They would be rich and hanging out in the Red Keep right now. That is the point, right? Yeah, well, this is I think her um this is her point, is like, hey, there's nothing for us in King's Landing right now. Our daughter is dead. She wanted to leave to Tumbleton, not necessarily because their daughter died, but because there were no prospects for them in King's Landing and the city was starving. That is reasonable. What's not reasonable is her waiting until, like, the day before her husband could come and find her and then leaving. Um and yeah, I do, like, I hate to pull out the hammer of it's bad writing, but, like, this might be bad writing. The fact that she was in King's Landing when the dragons arrived might be bad writing. Um, her being her being so mad, and, like, the bad communication between her and Hugh is probably them both being a little bit flawed as characters. But, like, yeah, it may be towing that line of a little bit of bad writing. Um, but yeah. And yes, it a bit contrived, perhaps. Like, the thing is, again, we're in full spoiler zone. If you don't want spoilers, you get on out of here. They do need, I think, a bit of drama to cause Hugh to go rogue. Um, Assuming that is the direction that they're actually going to go with it. So yeah. But yeah, and like, yeah, this is the thing. Like, I would have less of a problem with Kat's reaction if it weren't for this specific screenshot, which is why I included a screenshot from episode 2 in here, because, like, this just breaks everything that she's saying. It makes everything that she's saying basically a lie. Like, that's the problem with it, right? Is, like, it's not even just that, like, it's a miscommunication. It's just straight up, she's just wrong. Like, nothing bad happened while he was on Dragonstone. All of the bad things happened after you left the day he came back to the city. So yeah, I don't know. I think I think Hugh needs to go get a second wife. I think that's the solution to this. Hugh, buddy, you got a dragon now. You let her go, man. Let her go. Um, but yeah, I don't know. That's my potentially controversial take. I have seen some people defending Cat quite strongly. Um, I don't get it. I understand a little bit why she's mad at him, but not why she is overwhelmingly mad at him, right? Like, I would get it if she's like, I'm a little mad at you, but damn, is it great that you have a dragon that's going to be massive for us. I don't understand it being like 99% angry at him, you know? Like I don't understand that being like the overwhelming emotion that she has here upon finding out, by the way, her husband is not dead. She thought that he was dead. Finding out your husband is alive and the most powerful person in the realm now is weird. I don't know. I don't know. Um yeah. And yeah, this is the thing. You can be on Kat's side and also think that this marriage is over. Like that is a reasonable take as well. Like I would I would uh I would understand that take as well, being like, "Hey, I understand why Kat is mad, but these two are not made for each other anymore. Like they have been through too much. They should go their separate ways." That makes sense to me. Um So yeah, and again, some just because the chat number has ticked up, we are in full spoiler section. Spoilers. You can start at the beginning if you don't want spoilers. Um, we're asking what are the chances that Hugh doesn't actually go rogue, but they assume he does because Ulf did. Vermithor would probably not fight Silverwing. Yeah, like I'm interested to see how they're gonna handle this because they're absolutely setting them up to dislike Rhaenyra, especially Ulf. Ulf has like every bit of setup you would need for him to be like, you know what, screw these guys. I'm switching sides. For Hugh, I don't know. It's it is gonna be interesting to see how they handle this. He's got enough setup where he might just say, like, screw it. My wife hates me still. Like, I get treated like shit by Rhaenyra. She gets mad at me. She didn't get me a house. Um, so I don't know. Hello. We are in spoiler zone. I'll say that just because you just said hello. I assume you just got here. We're in spoiler zone. If you don't want spoilers, go back to the beginning. Um, but like um he could go rogue and he could this confrontation could cause him to just lust more for power, right? Like, especially maybe if like things are not solvable with Cat. He's like, you know what? Screw it. I tried to become a dragon rider for Cat. That wasn't enough. I need to become king now. Like whatever. Like I need to go become even more powerful. Um that could be, I think, what's going on. So, yeah, I don't know. I do not know. Um but yeah. Yeah, I have seen this brought up, the idea of like, oh, so this Baratheon has light chestnut hair, but the whole plot point of one of the main series plot points is that all of the Baratheons are constantly producing black-haired offspring. That is fair. Um, I can't remember exactly if it was every Baratheon ever has black hair, or if it was just like every time a Baratheon and a Lannister married, or every time a Baratheon married a blonde, the Baratheon hair won out. But yes, that is a bit of a funny thing. Like they could have just had Gwaine be like, yeah, Aryan Baratheon has black hair, and this guy had light hair. Like that would have made probably a little more sense. But what are you gonna do? And thank you for the new membership. We do appreciate that. Always good to get a new member. Normally videos for members will come out a little bit early. That has changed a little bit with time sensitive videos like reactions to House of the Dragon, or this week it's been reactions to the Mad King stage play. I wanted to get those out right away, not hold them back, but like once things are back to normal and the flow of normal content, members will get videos a little bit early. So enjoy that and thank you very much. Um and yeah, I imagine Hugh is going to be able to get out of the city fine, I would think. But okay, since we are in like spoiler zone, I wonder if like he got stuck inside the city, would Vermithor just go ape and start burning Tumbleton? And that could be how some of this drama kicks off. Like that's something I hadn't really thought about, but it might be the case that like damn, if Vermithor realizes that Hugh can't get out, what would the reaction be? Would he just start going crazy on Tumbleton and then all of a sudden like complete chaos kicks off and then like Rhaenyra freaks out on him for burning Tumbleton when he wasn't supposed to? Because that's the other thing. That is actually set up. Because Rhaenyra was sending Ulf to watch over Tumbleton because he didn't have a stake in things. And Hugh begged her to go because he does have a stake in things. And she didn't want someone who was emotionally invested in a position to potentially burn the city or do something crazy. So the fact that that might be paid off by the fact that his emotional investment would cause him to go into the city, potentially causing a bunch of problems if he gets stuck there, and then accidentally or like through the fact that his dragon acts without his control, the dragon starts burning the city to get him out. Like, that tracks pretty well. And then he gets back, and Rhaenyra is very mad at him because now it looks like she unleashed one of her dragons to burn the city, giving Ormond exactly what he wants. The thing that she's been waiting weeks to avoid, waiting for the army to get here, gets screwed up by him and his emotional investment into the situation. Honestly, like if I thinking through this out loud right now, if I had to make a prediction for how that goes, that might be it. Um, Hugh gets rescued from the city by Vermithor, who burns a bunch of Tumbleton and makes Rhaenyra look terrible. Rhaenyra freaks out at Hugh, and then Hugh goes rogue because, damn it, my wife hates me. I'm not getting any respect from Rhaenyra. I'm getting yelled at now. I'm done with this shit. I have a big dragon. I'm doing my own thing. Yeah, that I think is the most logical setup way that this could be going. So, yeah. But okay, I do think I am going to start getting ready to wrap it up here. If you have any more very pressing questions, let me know in the chat. But otherwise, thank you very much for joining me. It has been a good time. I was able to pull myself away from the craziness of like every mystery of Robert's Rebellion being revealed all overnight in one night. So, uh, lots of videos on that for you guys to check out on the channel. But yeah, I was able to pull myself away from it, rewatch this episode of House of the Dragon, and we were able to chat about it. So it was a good time. Thank you all very much for being here. Um, and yeah, we'll be back next week, of course, for the next episode as well. Um, I I might be busier next week. I'm gonna try to do it Monday. I have a bunch of family that's gonna be in town next week. So, worst case scenario, if I don't have a live stream for episode 7 next week, we may do episode 7 and 8 after 8. Just know nothing horrible has happened. I do just have a bunch of family from other parts of the country all coming together next week. So yeah, might be busier than normal. We'll see. But I plan on trying to have a live stream before they all get to town. So yeah. Depends on other things to see if I'll be able to pull that off or not. But either way, thank you all very much for joining me. Has been a good time. Remember, like the stream, all that good stuff. Subscribe if you haven't. Check out some of the other videos on the channel. I put out a bunch of them this week. And yeah, more will be coming. So yeah, thank you all very much, and I'll talk to you all later.